Hello.
Hello.
Good to see so many beautiful ghosts here tonight.
I like that.
Yes, 2012, panicky subject for a lot of people. Exciting year for me because I know further than that. We will meet again and I will tell you more, but what is coming is very exciting and I'm already getting bodily changes. The brothers are coming. The Space Brothers are coming. I promise you. I'll even tell you the name of one of them. Not an individual, the name of the race. The race that's helping us. They're called the Kallu. And I've shared a big secret with you now that I'm not supposed to have shared, because I learned that from a very high place. There you go, you straight away learn something. The Kallu are coming. But they're not alone. Okay? 2012, the coming of the brothers. That's why it's the end of the age, because it's the beginning of a new age. This age of ignorance is about to end. There will be world changes. These are moods of the world. These are things that are going to happen. This is not necessarily related to the karma of man. We've not helped with our treatment of the planet, but we are understanding that. We're trying to put that right, and we will not eventually be alone in that either. But that's another subject for another night. And I hope I get a chance to discuss that with you because it's the biggest one going. But tonight, I've talked about something that I've never heard discussed under anyone but me. And I've run into it a few times. Or run into myself a few times, I suppose you could say. Ghosts of the living. What a strange thing to say. Is it? Is it? How do you think you're alive? What defines the difference between life and death? Spirit. You'd be rotting on the stem without spirit. You have spirit, you have something we sometimes call soul. I prefer the word ghost because it doesn't have the religious connotations and overtones, and we're not then eliminating some people who don't like certain words, etc., etc. That's fine. If we stick with ghost, it's kind of trendy, it's like wizard. But we mean the thing that is the super being that keeps you animated, thinking, acting, being, not rotting, separates you from other things, because that's another thing. There's a difference between what I would label wider spirit and ghost, which I am going to specifically relate to only human beings tonight, the word ghost, because the ghost of the human being is the highest evolved and the most mighty being that inhabits the planet Earth, is the ghost. And it's in all of you. You all have one. Most of you will... Well, no, I'm not going to go there. The ghost is incredible. The power of the ghost is incredible. The power of your soul is incredible. The power of the spirit that animates you is incredible. It is inside and behind everything that you can do or will do or want to do. You just don't realise it deeply enough. So, we begin. Specific, human ghost, most powerful being on earth, I have written. Yes, it is. More powerful than you've ever given it credit for, believe me. Also, how long have you had this ghost? Well, I put it to you that virtually all ghosts, if not all ghosts, are ancient. That means you're all ancient. This current body you're using to carry this ghost is of this generation. The being that walks with you goes back ages you can't imagine, has lived out scenarios and lifetimes and wonderful movies like you can't imagine. And I mean like you can't imagine. There's reasons why you're not allowed to imagine it either. It's protection for many things. It's to keep you on a specific path as well. But the thing is that when you hear people say, you know, all knowledge is within you, that's half true. It's true that all the knowledge that your ghost has gleaned throughout its many times of being with a host, it has locked in it the memory of its whole existence, and what it incurred, it did, and was on its agenda. And so to that respect, everything that is you, going back to the beginning of you, is available to you. But not everything that's ever happened in the universe That's a folly to say everything is within you. Everything that your ghost knows is within you. But it's also, you'll be amazed how much your ghost does know. Okay? A lot. A lot. The realm it inhabits, it's the same universe, but it is not only bound by Newtonian physics. It has to exist within Newtonian physics. By that I mean the universe as we're taught. It's the lumpy bits, the atoms, what holds it together, the energies, the various nuclear forces and all this. Newtonian physics, that's fine. Spirit's not really interested in Newtonian physics, actually. And it's more like, if anyone knows about quantum math, doesn't seem to make sense. Spirit enjoys that same nonsense realm. But it can come and go. It has reasons. Let me come back to that later. Answers are within. Ghost, soul, re-overtones, ghost. Right. When you have, and we all have, our individual drive, our individual, what we're going to do with our lives, what we would like to do with our lives, our own dreams, how much of that is you? Well, I put it to you, none of it's you. Because the human being is much like any other animal. Its motor functions are survival, sex, fighting, things like that. Ambition is what your ghost is up to in this lifetime. It is your ghost's agenda, continuing along its path. And it's inspiring you to go here, there and thither. Do this, do that. You think they're your ambitions. This is you actually being in touch with your ghost in a very subtle way where you don't perceive it as being a secondary concept. It's your concept. Well, of course it is, because you're you by essence of your own ghost. That's what makes you you. Okay? Now, some ghosts live out their lives, putting it very crudely, terrible language, purely using you to their agenda's end without ever really bringing you to an awareness that they're there or that there's an agenda or anything's going on. That's the bulk of people. They just live their lives, and that's fine. That's what they're meant to do. But in some cases the ghost is very strong, or its agenda is particularly difficult, or it's behind, or it's maybe an unruly ghost. They're not all perfect. They're not all well behaved. They vary as much as people vary. Okay? So they have their intentions. Now, some people become aware of this to the point where they want more, and there is an adept. I'm getting out of order of your notes. I'm going to be in a right mess in a minute. There is an adept called Her Holiness Mataji, Shri, Nirmala, Devi. You can look this up online yourself. I'll write down the name if anyone wants to know. She's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful young lady, except she's not. She's a very aged lady. She just looks beautiful and young. A very strange being indeed. She has a gift. And the gift she's been given in this age is a rather an unusual one, and I'm moved that Spirit wants this happening in this age, because her gift is that she can release your ghost completely into your awareness in your living lifetime. Now this comes with advantages and disadvantages, but what she's dealing with is an ancient creature which is formerly been called the Kundalini. Have we heard this word, Kundalini? Yeah. Kundalini, a little serpent kind of creature, ghost like a serpent, lives in a coil. And where does it live? It lives in a triangle in the bottom of your spine, the very last bone, called the sacrum. And this is where your ghost lives while you're walking around, still animated. And that's where the bulk of its being is. Now, it is referred to by us more modernly, although we don't imagine ourselves looking into our bottoms for the answer. But when we talk about trying to reach the subconscious, we're talking about asking of our own ghost, and will it answer us? Will it give us some of that inner knowledge? And you're actually calling to the Kundalini serpent. And strangely, yes, the knowledge comes from you, but isn't that wonderful? And up there. But I'm losing the point slightly. This Kundalini ghost, it is one description of it, and incidentally, when it is brought out of you, and it requires an adept to get it through the last part, because there are many shaman who can bring your ghost to life almost totally in your body, and it is blocked at the pineal level. It can't get any further, because where its escape route exists closes at birth, and that's the fontanella hole in the top of the skull. When babies are born, they have a hole. That's where the ghost goes in and out, amazingly, and that closes. And she is able, with magic pin pricking in the air and all this, to reopen the fontanella hole. It's very painful. I've had it, but worth the effort, because this thing finally bursts through. And I'm looking at you now from 6 feet tall. If I had recently had my ghost brought out, I'd be looking at you from here. And even though these eyes are looking, my brain is seeing from this height, because your ghost's height is a bit above you. And it comes out as a flower above your head. And in ancient art, they depict this beautiful flower bursting out the top of the head. Well, that's their depiction of the real you out of its trap. It is painted as a godlike flower. And that's your ghost, this Kundalini thing. But the problem with having your ghost out is your ghost is all sensitive. And for instance, very shortly after having had my ghost brought out, on the way back to the car, I had to pass a pub. I almost needed an ambulance by the time I passed the pub, because all the ill in there, the spirits that were ill were screaming, and my spirit was hearing them and letting me cop the lot. And I felt kidneys going, pancreases going, livers going. This, oh my God, get me past here. And this is the thing, your ghost is a bit too aware for you to be able to cope with if you had it out all the time in this lifetime. But it is also a great aid to you. And this is why I say it's not for everybody to bring out the ghost. And in fact, to a lot of people, if you're depressive, it would destroy you. Because you have to be very strong of mind to cope with other people's problems. And there's hardly a soul around that hasn't got one. And when their ghost sees that your ghost is on full receive and transmit, it dumps everything. And it comes into your ghost. You see, this is also a problem healers have. They often wash their hands afterwards or try and throw it away. This is ghost remnant. It's reality. I'm getting completely out of order, so let me try and realign myself.
Lee, can I just ask, is this the same sort of scenario as entities being attracted to you?
Yes, because I touched earlier on the realm that it lives in is a multi-raced realm. Like on Earth, we have many kinds of things: animals, birds, fishes, humans, all sorts of things. In the ghost realm, there isn't just the ghosts of men, and there isn't just the ghosts of creatures. There's other kinds of ghosts of things that you will never even be able to even know what they look like, but your ghost may be aware of them. And there's an interesting point here. Are ghosts scared of ghosts? Actually, they're terrified of them. They really are, because they actually know what they're dealing with.
Yes.
And that's why you have such gross discomfort when you take your body, which is ignorant, into some place that's got something wrong. Your ghost is immediately threatened, intimidated, under attack, God knows what, and will do anything to get your attention, to get you out of there, making you feel so creepy, so weird, you can't explain why you feel, but you've just got to go. That's your ghost saying, this isn't good for me. Because whilst your body may be ignorant and take the blows, the ghost is a very vulnerable, although mighty being. And it knows when it's good and when it isn't good. It knows what it can take on, it knows what it can't. And your ghost agenda is ancient, and it's been fighting these battles for millennium. On and on and on. So your ghost's agenda not only tells you where it's not comfortable, it will give you the idea to take it somewhere it needs to go, to collect an energy, or put something right, or meet another ghost, or do one of these things. So that your living ghost is in more control of you than you ever will give it credit for. But it's beautiful, and it doesn't matter, because its agenda is what life's all about. It's what makes us different from the animals, is this agenda, and this special species that have this ability to inhabit us like some alien host thing, and live us out. But it also is what makes us special. All people with gift. Is it their gift? Actually, no. You're no more different to the piece of meat sat next to you, no offence intended. But the gifts aren't yours. They're the gifts your spirit's got, or your ghost's got, that it will either be using part of in this lifetime, or maybe not, or maybe dying for you to try and access, and you're not. This is why knowing these things can change you, because you can start trying to access something that's been trying to get your attention for ages. You've got more gifts than you ever credit yourself with, but you're not using them because you think, but I'm me. Well, actually, no, you're a super ghost, and the super ghost can do absolutely everything. And I mean everything. More even than I'm still reiterating here, because hopefully, if I haven't made a complete mess of my order, we will see that there's more to it than that. For example, I'm going to touch on one aspect of a lent gift from Spirit, and this is the life-saving and proved to exist myriads of times over act of precognition, knowing something's about to happen, just a knowing, taking an action, and 2 seconds later, if you hadn't, you would have lost your life. How many times has that happened to you? Well, that's your ghost just saved your bloody life. And how did it do that? It only flaming time travelled. It went ahead, saw the incident, painted it in your head ultra fast, and got you to slam on the brakes and pull off the road a bit, and then a jackknifing lorry goes whizzing by you. That's precognition. That's the ghost actually being ahead of time. That's how powerful your ghost is. And to me, that is an incredible gift, to be able to go ahead in time, come back, give that information, you react fast enough to be fine. And we do this even in a subtler way with what's called sixth sense. Black room, walking, you stop dead, put your hand out, you find you were in front of a wall. You didn't feel it, you couldn't see it, but your ghost stopped you dead because your ghost knew. So your ghost is always trying to be in touch with you. Always. I wonder if ghosts fall in love, if it's them that drives you to do these things. I don't know. Some things are speculative to me, whereas others, they seem to be more obvious. But love and ghosts. Odd one that. If we are reincarnating individuals, maybe not reincarnating loving couples. I don't know. Finding each other again.
Would that be what we see as soulmates?
Precisely. We even know something inside telling us, this is my soulmate. But I don't even know quite what that means. But yeah, if we're saying, like I said, if we drop the word soul and call it ghost mates is exactly what they are. Seeking each other out again. And we know that people who lose family members, a child will be born again, already wanting to go back and claim his wife, like, but no, you're only 5, no, I don't care, that's my wife, I want to go back home. And interrogate the kid, it's definitely his wife. But the trouble is, you're 5 now, she's gone on a bit, she's remarried, or you can't. Tough. That must be a weird one. Equally, a fascination occurs here, a fascination it's got a bit twisted by the wrong individual, stuck with Newtonian science, and that is the fascination of twins. Twins. I know a case, I won't mention names because it's a family and it's private. The twin baby girls were born, they were extremely beautiful, radiantly beautiful, curly-haired girls. But something wasn't sitting right with the family, and it was because these girls wouldn't learn to speak. Why? Because from as soon as they could open their mouths, they already had a language that they both spoke and they both understood. And it seemed to have detail, and it came from nowhere. And listening to it was the most strange and eerie thing, and seeing them react to it, and I can only say it's the closest thing I've probably ever run into to talking in tongues. And I do believe that that's what they were doing. And that suggests something very deep and special is going on, and it made me look at the concept of the ghost and the twins. Do we have, at the moment when in the womb, when life is given to this embryo, i.e. the ghost, the soul, the spirit, whatever, do we have a situation where spirit looks on and goes, oh, there's two of them, I tell you what, I'll make myself equal in both. So is it one ghost split? Or is it identical ghosts, like you get identical twins? I'm fascinated by this, and the more I think about it, the more I'm intrigued by it. But twins do have, they have telepathy, they have identical wanting. Not only do parents dress them alike, they want to be dressed alike. Leave them alone, they'll still go and buy almost exactly the same clothes. It is uncanny. The ghost is totally in communication with itself. So to me, like, twins are the ghost screaming to do some kind of huge parade example of, look what a ghost is. And they're fascinating. And if you then get identical triplets and it goes on, then it gets even more fascinating. And the relationship that continues in twins throughout their life is a relationship the rest of us can only envy, because it is a very special one with your ghost, which they must have as like a third party. And I can only be in awe of it. You know, there's something very strange and special going on there. But I really must find myself. I've winged it so much I've gone off the page. Where are we? Ghosts in League, just done that. Shared ghost. Poltergeists. Have a quick drink. Anybody had any occurrences with poltergeists here? Yeah? What?
Objects going missing, and then you lose them. Say if I was in Bristol, I would lose an object in Bristol, come back home, and I'd find the object back home, that sort of thing.
Ah,
yeah.
Now that is what they call telekinesis. That's another fascinating thing. Now, what did that telekinesis? Clearly you didn't. Something else did, didn't it? I wonder what it was. I wonder if it was your ghost, perhaps. You know, this is my point: is that but the more you look at psychic ability and paranormal ability, and look back at the thing that's created it, well, you can't have. So something else with more power than you is. And telekinesis, the moving about of objects, which I have written here as mind over matter, but is exactly the same concept, is actually, as I've put it, ghost or spirit over matter. And because ghost is already proved to me over and over again to be so superhuman and super powerful, to me that's just a little trick that it can do. You know, but you're absolutely right, the moving of objects, because poltergeists do exactly that. They move objects. They like to move objects. When I was 11, 12 years old, we were in a particularly intriguing monster house, you know, with the things coming out the roof and the bats everywhere. And there really were bats as well. It was wonderful. And kept getting in trouble with Mum for leaving our room in a mess, and we kept insisting we'd tidied it. It got to such a showdown, my mum got worried we were broken in and sent for the police. Police staked out the house, we went to work, went to school, did our various things, came home end of the day. Police officer waiting when my mum came in said, I can absolutely guarantee nobody has been in the house today, let's go in. So they went in the house and the place was devastated, more than it had ever been, because the police had been staking it. So the chief of police at Liverpool goes, I'm sorry, you've got poltergeists, we're out of here, there's nothing we can do. And it's like, oh well, thanks a bunch, you know. Anyway, that moved on. Donkey's years later, I went to see a clairvoyant, Madame Tamar, beautiful lady who's now moved on, bless her, I love her to pieces. And the first thing she ever told me when I was 21 years old, she told me about living in this house and these ghosts and dead guinea pigs and bats and everything. And I said, that's incredible, you've just painted my life. She said, well, you know what that was, don't you? And I said, no, to this day I don't know what it was. She said, it was you. She said, it was you, you fool. She said, you know, you're clearly a very psychic being. When children are hitting puberty, they are the most psychic they will ever be in your whole life. You will never again be as powerful as in puberty, for some strange reason, I don't know why. And the irony is, when you're a school kid, 11, 12, living in these days, nobody's telling you, oh, by the way, you're at your magical peak, dude, you know, plug in, you know. In fact, we're being told quite the opposite. It's all science, religion, and it's all a load of rubbish. So, you know, we assumed dead bodies, you know, things in the walls. It turned out it was just me trying to get attention. Well, it took me until I was 21 to find out that it was me trying to get my own attention. So poltergeist, in this instance, my own poltergeist turned out to be me. My own ghost was haunting me and trying to get my attention. So absolutely fascinating. Haunted by myself. How wonderful is that? But it was quite bloody and awesome and all sorts going wrong. Because I couldn't, nobody turned around and said, what the hell do you want then? You know, and I was like, oh, I don't know. Poltergeist types, example, haunting by me, I've put. Gifts of spirit, psychic and other powers. We've touched there a bit. Telepathy, of course. Telepathy, you know, it goes without saying, doesn't it? You know, again, it seems to only work with people who have an empathy anyway. So their ghosts may have a relationship that's possibly older than them, or is formed in this lifetime. Ghosts may fall for each other in this lifetime. Who's to say? Like I say, love and ghosts are almost inseparable. And maybe even their agendas can change after centuries of going in one direction. Who's to say how we can't affect our own direction by the people we meet, or a simple decision, or a missed appointment? You know, and how much has changed as a result of so many little subtleties, you know. Other things you hear of in accidents. Car goes off the road, wife's trapped in the car, it's starting to burn, husband's in a panic, can't open the door, ordinary guy, no great muscles, there's no way it's going to happen, the car's going to blow, right, sod it, this door's coming off, whang, just rip the door clean off, just throw it away, that's you out of there. It's been recorded over and over and over again, super strength out of nowhere. Well, was that you? No, it can't be you. That's your ghost stepping up. Because your ghost is incredibly powerful. I cannot say it enough times. And your ghost quite happily rip that door off. It'll leave you with the bruised fingers, but it ripped that door off. So it can give you super strength. And then we move into my more favourable side of ghost showing this. Anybody here ever fire walked? Hey, love it, fire brothers and sisters. Wow. Now there's magic, isn't it? There's magic. Did you do the magic? No. But you're still here. You did do the magic in so much as that you created the right palette of yourself for that to be possible. But the ghost knows what's being called on it. And the more extreme, the more it can give. And at this point, you are asking it to wrap you in an immortal shield. And by God, if it doesn't step up and do it. And it does step up and do it. I have firewalked. I did the Cherokee firewalk. There's two main ones, the Sufi one and the Cherokee one. The Sufi one is cokes. The Cherokee one is illegal because it's extremely dangerous. It uses charcoals, and they get them yellow hot in a pit, 1200 degrees. A car would melt to a puddle in the road, 1200 degrees. You write down your greatest fears as part of the magic, put it on a piece of paper, you throw it at the pit. The moment that paper touches the pit, it goes, woof, it's gone. That's how hot it is. Then they go, it's ready, you can go in now. You got bare feet. Oh, groovy. Here we go. Wow. And how do you survive? By magic, by absolute magic. And it must be magic because in that same line there were ladies, some of them a little vain, they had painted their toenails. They come out, how are their feet? Not one fine hair from the foot has been removed, nothing. All the nail varnish is white dust on every toe, because that wasn't part of your body and it wasn't necessary. That has been burned. You are fine, right down to the last hair on you.